Today we're talking about 5 literary heroines that I identify with, that I relate to, and that people say I'm like. Kind of all 3 wrapped into one. And I'm just going to read a snippet from each book if you're not familiar with the characters. The first one is from Narnia. That would be Susan Pevensie. A lot of people probably relate to Lucy, but I relate to Susan. I know that she outgrows Narnia eventually, but I've always related to just her as a character, the way that she reacts to what's going on. So the passage I'm going to read is early in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, when they're entering Narnia. Susan says, "And now, what do we do next?" "Do?" said Peter. "Why, go and explore the wood, of course." "Ugh," said Susan, stamping her feet. "It's pretty cold. What about putting on some of these coats?" "They're not ours," said Peter doubtfully. "I'm sure nobody would mind," said Susan. "It isn't as if we wanted to take them out of the house. We shan't even take them out of the wardrobe." "I never thought of that, Sue." They immediately carried out Susan's very sensible plan. So, not just for that reason, that she has sensible plans, but for lots of different reasons. And she has a bow and arrow, so that's pretty cool. Next, I know I've talked about this one a little bit in another video, but Anne of Green Gables, I totally relate to. She's very poetic, and she also is very loyal to her friends, and I just love the little things that she says, and I could totally see them coming out of my own mouth. So I'm just going to read a few snippets of that. "I forgave you that day by the pond landing, although I didn't know it. What a stubborn little goose I was. I may as well make a complete confession. I've been sorry ever since." "We are going to be the best of friends," said Gilbert jubilantly. "We were born to be good friends, Anne. You've thwarted destiny long enough." And then later, Marilla's talking to Anne, and she says, "I didn't think you and Gilbert Blythe were such good friends that you'd stand half an hour at the gate talking to him," said Marilla with a dry smile. "We haven't been. We've been good enemies. But we have decided that it will be much more sensible to be good friends in the future." "Were we really there half an hour? It seemed just a few minutes. But you see, we have 5 years' lost conversations to catch up with, Marilla." And lots of people say that I'm like Anne of Green Gables. Okay. Little Women is next, and I relate to Jo, the second sister, again, like in Narnia, and she is a writer, so I relate to her because of that. She has a little bit of a temper, which hopefully I've outgrown, and I'm just going to read you a short snippet from Little Women. "I think I haven't done much harm yet, and may keep this to pay for my time," she said after a long meditation, adding impatiently, "I almost wish I hadn't any conscience. It's so inconvenient. If I didn't care about doing right, and didn't feel uncomfortable when doing wrong, I should get on capitally." The 4th heroine is none other than Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice, which is probably my all-time favorite movie, and maybe my second favorite Jane Austen. Elizabeth is a reader, but more than that, I relate to her on just her perspective on life and the way that she handles situations. I feel like we are very similar. So here's a quote from Elizabeth. "Certainly," replied Elizabeth, "there are such people, but I hope I am not one of them. I hope I never ridicule what is wise or good. Follies and nonsense, whims and inconsistencies do divert me, I own, and I laugh at them whenever I can. But these, I suppose, are precisely what you are without." Our final one is the series that I've been reading lately for the first time, Harry Potter. And I have to say that I resisted this one for a really long time because I felt stereotyped and I did not like that this is what people were thinking of me. But Hermione Granger is awesome, and I've come to embrace her. Her bushy brown hair, her love of books, her eagerness to learn, and her cleverness. So I'm just going to read you a short snippet from the first book, and hopefully there won't be any spoilers. "Brilliant," said Hermione. "This isn't magic, it's logic, a puzzle. A lot of the greatest wizards haven't got an ounce of logic. They'd be stuck in here forever." "But so will we, won't we?" "Of course not," said Hermione. "Everything we need in here is on this paper. 7 bottles. 3 are poison, 2 are wine. 1 will get us safely through the black fire, and 1 will get us back through the purple. But how do we know which to drink? Give me a minute." Hermione read the paper several times. Then she walked up and down the lines of bottles, muttering to herself and pointing at them. At last she clapped her hands. "Got it," she said. "The smallest bottle will get us through the black fire, toward the stone." And then later on, Harry's about to go through the door. "Me," said Hermione, "books and cleverness. There are more important things. Friendship and bravery and, oh, Harry, be careful." So, I love Hermione Granger, and I will say that there are several things that she does that I do not approve of, and that are not like me. I would not color code my studying notes. I would not force my friends to study with me. I would not be quite as bossy, hopefully, as an 11-year-old Hermione, or even as a 15-year-old or 17-year-old Hermione. And hopefully I just embody all of her good characteristics, including the bushy brown hair. And so those are the 5 heroines that I relate to the most. Susan Pevensie from Narnia, Anne of Green Gables, Jo March from Little Women, Lizzie Bennet from Pride and Prejudice, and Hermione Granger from Harry Potter.